Hi, it's Miles Red Songbird, Michelle Birdsong in New York City. This is part 2 of Eckhart Tolle got stumped. Like I said in the first video, I'm a big fan of his, but he was stumped about mental illness question. And in the last video I was saying that I had told my daughter Robin Birdsong when she noticed the resemblance to Stevie Wonder, I told her weeks later when it came to me that he was her father and her biological father, and she was, she thought, well, that's just your mental illness, mother, because they call me crazy. They call me crazy, yeah. And my psychiatrist, Noel Taylor, in New York, this is New York, right, as well as my friends, said that my husband, Michael John Spear, was the one who was crazy. I'm inclined to believe her now, since I jotted this down. That's why I'm reading. I wanted to be organized. I've uncovered a startling secret about myself, which is that I'm an empath. I pick up on the feelings of those close to me as my own. So I was picking up on Michael's feelings, thinking they were my feelings, his feelings of insanity. Now, he's done a lot of drugs in the 1960s, and he smoked pot for years after that. He told me that lysergic acid, LSD, mimics psychosis. In other words, it makes you crazy. Jimmy Charles, who had the hit record A Million to One, I think it was in the 60s this hit came out. Now, I don't know if he's a saint, but one day he came to Edwin in our studio apartment on 18th Street and 8th Avenue in Chelsea in 1970. Note, it's now 2019 and I live in a one-room space called an SRO on 8th Avenue between 17th and 18th Street in Chelsea. Isn't that something? I'm back where I started. Yet, there's no such thing as a coincidence, I'm told by the Saint Charan Singh, 20th century Jesus Christ, St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, now Govinda Singh Dillon. Anyhow, Jimmy Charles came to our place shirtless. He said he took a tab of acid, LSD, and parked his car on a railroad track and just sat there parked. Thank God he left before a train came. Many people committed suicide while taking hallucinogenics. Michael once took a lot of pills and drank alcohol attempting suicide. LSD trips reoccur even when you're not on the drug. It just comes back over you. So that's about mental illness. And incidentally, I was at Stevie Wonder's townhouse when his brother Larry lived there. Larry died of AIDS. Anyhow, I had been committed to Bellevue, it was Bellevue, and Edwin came to see me with Larry. So then after I got out of the hospital, Edwin took me by the townhouse, and I didn't notice Larry right away, and then I saw him. I said, "Oh, hi, Larry, I'm sorry. Pay no attention to me, I'm crazy." And Edwin got no, you're not, don't say that, So he was one of the ones who didn't believe I was crazy. But anyway, to answer the Eckhart Tolle question, what is the purpose of mental illness? That's what the lady asked him. And the purpose of mental illness is, let me just change this photograph. I want to change the photograph. Where's the cursor? There it is. Come on down here, cursor. Right here. Okay, now let me type in photo of Stevie Wonder. Okay. Let's see what they come up with. I've already talked about Steve, but So, as far as I know, he wasn't a saint either, even though part of the title of this video is The Secrets of Saints and Gods. But, where was I? I was talking about Larry and, Eckhart Tolle being stumped about what is the purpose of mental illness. After having gone to hospital, by the way, we gave Steve the idea for the plaits, and which the whole black people all over the world started wearing plaits after this album came out, where I have plaited Edwin's hair. You see the plaits? That was in 1970. He was wearing plaits since 1969, when nobody was wearing plaits. You know, adults weren't wearing their hair plaited. So when I see people with their hair plaited, I say, you're welcome for the idea. They have no idea why they were, who started the trend. So anyway, after, I know what happened. I think I was in Beth Israel psych ward, and there were demons there, and they gave me so much medicine. I knew they were trying to kill me. And my diagnosis had been paranoid schizophrenic. So you're supposed to believe that when you see something out of the ordinary, it's because you're paranoid. Because that's the label they put on you. So by the time I got out of before I got out of Beth Israel, at that time, Sing, my son, Sing birdsong, and Charan Singh. Let's see, I have a really great picture of Charan Singh. See if I can find it. Here it is. They came to me. There he is. Isn't that a perfect picture with the flower of the roses? They came to me in spirit form when I was in Beth Israel psych ward with all those demons. That's when I realized that insanity is at the level of demons, because I saw the staff were demons. So anyway, they came to me, and Singh said, I've come in spirit form, but they look like three-dimensional forms. I guess they were holograms. I don't know. But anyway, Singh said to me, I've come to help you through this. And so Charan Singh didn't say anything. Singh is a projection of Charan Singh, who was Jesus Christ, the 20th century. And then we started communicating without words, without our mouths moving. So I got in the bed, and I knew to hold on to the sides of the bed. And the bed started rocking back and forth, back and forth. See, in India, they know all about supernatural stuff. In the West, they just call you crazy, if you tell them things like this. Who was that? David Icke said the world is not the way you think. As a matter of fact, it's nothing like the way you've been taught it is. So I'm in the bed, I'm holding onto the sides of the bed, and it is rocking. I mean, it starts to really rock. And somehow I know I better hold on. And water was seeping up from the floor. And I just held on, singing. Charan Singh just stood there. And after, I guess it seemed like about 15 minutes, it stopped, the rocking stopped, and they disappeared, and the water receded. And then I got out of that place, and I decided to myself, that's it. I am not going crazy anymore. I didn't know it was Michael's craziness in the first place. And so I learned because it happened automatically. When I became overwhelmed, I had 3 children, and they were all suicidal from a past life. So I had to be very careful to keep them going, give them something to be interested in. So we took horseback riding lessons, they went skiing, they bicycled, they surfed, they skateboarded, they did violin lessons, and we went to Radio City and saw Snow White. They had friends at the Greenwich House Daycare Center, and then later at PS 41, and then later at Grace Church School, and then later at Friends Seminary. So they were lacto-vegetarians. We were empathetic toward the animals. We didn't eat them because we were on the path of the masters, and that's the diet, is lacto-vegetarian. So what am I trying to say? I gave them a very full life, and their father required a tremendous amount of attention as well, and talk and share therapy I did with them. I didn't know they were suicidal, but I knew it. But I didn't know. I was intuitive. Intuition is when you know something without evidence. So I didn't have any evidence that, in their past life, Robin had been Galileo, who had been under house arrest, who was suicidal as he sat there, wanting to die. He was dying of being in isolation like that. And then Singh had killed himself he fell on his own sword when three of his sons were killed in battle when he was King Saul. And then Michael, of course, his karma was so awful. He had been a Nazi. He had been one of the executioners. The guillotine operated at the French Revolution. And Melanie had been Vincent van Gogh, who was a mentally tormented painting genius, who was, died of depression and poverty. His painting sold for $80 million, but when he was alive, they wouldn't give him any money. So I had to keep so I didn't know all that then. This is recent knowledge, like I said. As a child, the daughter of the sun, I have been giving access. Once I realized who I was, I've been giving access to nature's secrets and the secret natures of humans. That's why I know these. And I'm an empath, so I pick up on the past lives of the people close to me. Okay, so did I tell you that mental illness is simply a coping mechanism? That people, they run from reality, this frequency, down to the lower frequency, like I